7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, CalHope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Former Crenshaw High School star Marcus Johnson is a finalist for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Johnson, an All-American at UCLA, played 7 of his 11 NBA seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks. He was a 4-time NBA All-Star and a first-team All-NBA selection in 1979. Former Lakers center Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony are also among the finalists. The Hall of Fame inductees will be chosen April 5th during the NCAA Final Four in San Antonio. 46 players from HBCU schools participated Monday in the NFL's HBCU Scouting Combine in New Orleans. It was a chance for HBCU players to make a first-hand impression on NFL scouts and player personnel directors. 7 players from last year's HBCU Combine earned a roster spot on an NFL team, including Rams kick returner Xavier Smith of Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. For information on fire recovery resources, recovery hubs, and available services, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 countywide. Aid distribution locations, repopulation updates, and safety rules are constantly changing. Visit the LA City and LA County websites for the latest. If you'd like to sign up for the county's free debris removal, fill out a right of entry form, or get a list of disaster recovery centers that are still active, please visit recovery.lacounty.gov or call the debris hotline at 844-347-3332. If you're vulnerable to mudslides with rain in the forecast, free sandbags are being offered. Go to lacounty.pw/sandbags to find out where to get them. Businesses who have lost their facilities due to the fires can use a regional online source to get free or discounted locations. Whether you're interested in donating or finding space, you can visit the Business-to-Business Space Share portal at spaceshare.lacounty.gov. Additional LA County small business support and programs can be found at opportunity.lacounty.gov. Praying, advocating, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get today's show started, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavismiley.show.com. That's thetavismiley.show.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today in our second hour.
I have a cousin that's very sensitive when it comes to racism. He called me one day because he was quite upset that he went to a tuba recital where he was one of only 3 black tuba players. And he thought that was racist. and I wanted to agree. But then I realized 3 black tuba players is a lot of f***ing black tuba players. If you see more than 5 black tuba players, you're watching an Outkast video. It's been a great year for me. I've accomplished a lot of personal goals. I completed my marriage. That's wonderful.
When you're joined by a comedian, voice actor, and writer like Ron Funches, who knows what's on the docket? I suspect we'll talk about a little bit of everything. Ron plays Howard on the hit Apple Plus series Loot, exec produced by Maya Rudolph. We saw Maya all over that SNL 50th anniversary program the other night. So Maya is the star and exec producer, but he plays Ron. Ron plays Howard, I should say, on the Apple Plus series Loot. He's also a classmate on Prime TV's Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity, hosted by Travis Kelce. Busy guy. Should be a fun conversation with Ron Funches in hour 2 today. In our third hour.
The International Basketball Federation voted to allow professional basketball players to compete in future Olympic Games and World Championships.
You're thinking, man, like, these guys, took our opportunity.
It was kind of like you want to be on a practice squad, and you're talking to college All-Americans and potential pros, all 8 of us on that team. We're not practice players.
I just remember getting off the plane. I saw a sign with my name, and I went to the car, and Larry Bird's sitting in there. And I'm like, hell nah. And then we get out, and he's like, yeah, you better get some sleep, because we're going to bust your ass. I don't think I thought we would scrimmage them. Best pickup game you're ever going to play in your life. This is our moment. This is our dream. We're playing against our heroes. If we lose, it's going to be like the biggest upset in sports history.
We were humbled by the opportunity, but we also wanted to show these guys that we could play. And we were dumb enough to know that we could win.
What really hurt was they were talking trash.
Wow. I hear all the conspiracy theories, and I'm telling you, all of that is convenient. All I know is when the clock stopped, we were up. We beat the Dream Team.
The Dream Team, the greatest basketball squad of all time, demolished everyone en route to winning the gold medal. You recall at the 1992 Summer Olympics, they never even came close to losing a game. They did, however, lose a scrimmage. And shockingly, they were defeated by a group of college kids, an unbelievable upset. Filmmaker Michael Talajian joins us in hour 3 to talk about his new HBO TNT documentary, We Beat the Dream Team. But when we commence today's show in this hour, we'll have 2 conversations on the B side of this hour. The city of L.A. is soon to host a number of world events, and a number of these events, including the 2026 World Cup and the 2028 Olympics, will be staged in the heart of Black Los Angeles. How are Black folk involved in the organizing effort? How will the Black community benefit from these world-class affairs? Will any Black folk make any money off these events? And who's holding the people who hold the purse strings accountable to our best interests? We'll put all those questions and more to Congresswoman Sidney Kamalaga-Dove, and she joins us on the backside of this hour. When we come forward, we will commence today's show talking politics with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrete Jr., host of the Ruben in the Center podcast and the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation, courtesy of Creators Syndicate. Ruben, when we come forward on Tavis.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stopped, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
You've lost so much weight. How'd you do it?
I got medical treatment for weight loss through Zelty and lost 50 pounds. I struggled for the longest time, but Zelty makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelty providers can prescribe FDA-approved weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight, like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others.
I've heard those medications can help you lose weight, but aren't they expensive?
Zelty can help get the medication isn't covered by insurance, so it's as little as $0 a month.
What if you don't have insurance?
No problem. Zelty may be able to help you get other GLP-1 medications for 80 to 90% off the price of name brand medications.
I'm ready to start losing weight. How do I get started with Zelty?
Just text.
Text SUNNY to 200-300 to get started today with Zelty and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text SUNNY to 200-300. That's SUNNY to 200-300. SUNNY to 200-300.
What you want to do, huh? KBLA Talk 1580 is thrilled to share that we have been named as a semifinalist for the coveted American Climate Leadership Awards, honoring our climate work last year. We're also delighted to announce year 2 of our Climate Justice Crusade. This year's $2 million 12-month campaign will link and combat the relationship between climate change and poor health outcomes for African Americans and the poor. Climate inequities have taken a toll with multiple health triggers in the Black community, such as extreme heat and poor air quality, made worse by the recent wildfires. Our work to ensure climate justice and climate equity continues. In the coming weeks and months, you'll be hearing a lot more about our 2025 climate campaign. To learn more about our plans for this year and the companies and organizations supporting us, log on to our website at kbla1580.com. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
I have a dream today.
The road to freedom wasn't paved with just big moments. It was built day to day, step by step, voice by voice. This February, experience Black History Month through the stories that shape Los Angeles and beyond. KBLA Talk 1580, where Black history lives. Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Let's get back to it. Tavis Smiley, Ruben Alvarez Jr. Ruben, how are you, sir?
My brother, I'm good. Thank you. I'm blessed to be with you.
Good to hear your voice as always. I saw a provocative piece you wrote here recently, and it got my attention in part because we've been talking a lot lately, frankly, more than I want to talk about, the fact that we, many believe, are in the early stages of a constitutional crisis. Clearly, Donald Trump, in many respects, is thumbing his nose at the judiciary. And every other day, with the signing of new executive orders, some court somewhere seems to be putting a stay on something he has attempted to do. And yet again, there's evidence that he's starting to thumb his nose at some of these courts. And it raises a fundamental question of what happens when Donald Trump does not have the authority to do X, Y, or Z, and he does it anyway. So your piece is titled, Dear Mr. President, Hands Off the Judiciary. Tell me more, Ruben.
So you and I have known each other about 30 years. 5 years before I met you, I was an undergraduate in college sitting in courses studying American history and my fascination with the civil rights movement. And if you study the civil rights movement, I had the great fortune of being an undergraduate in Randy Kennedy's law school class at Harvard Law School. And there's just no better place or better person to learn this stuff from. And when you study that, you see that there's a constant battle between the executive branch and the judicial branch. And oftentimes it's the judges who are not voted into office, so they can't be voted out of office, who are in the best position to stand up to the mob. And there are oftentimes executive folks, whether it be mayor or governor or president, who buckle under pressure from the mob and don't do the right thing. So it's really the heroes of the civil rights movement, Tavis, are not just the people we know, the African Americans and young people of all colors, the freedom riders and others. The heroes of the civil rights movement are the federal judges who stood up to the racists in the South and elsewhere and said, you cannot do this, you will not do this. It's a court order, you can't defy it. So that's why when we started seeing the rumblings that this administration, in its 28th day, it's only been there 28 days, was already sort of setting the stage for Trump and his acolytes in the executive branch telling the judiciary, hey, you're not the boss of us. we're not going to let you push us around. And Trump said it, and J.D. Vance said it, and other people started putting this out there. I got real nervous. I continue to be real nervous. I think, and I'll just end with this, I think of the over 300 executive orders that Trump has signed in 28 days, this is by far the headline. This is the one thing we should be most worried about, most concerned about. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. It just doesn't matter. The federal judiciary has an oversight role put there by the Constitution. It's an equal branch of government, and the president shouldn't be trying to push around judges.
What has he done in terms of pushing around judges to this point that most concerns you, or what caught your ire?
Well, it's interesting. On the one hand, Trump says, I will abide by the rulings of all the judges. I will not defy judicial ruling. Well, that's BS, because his administration has already defied a judicial ruling. The judge's name is, let's see if I have this right, I think it's John J. McConnell. Yeah, John J. McConnell Jr. in Rhode Island, federal judge, U.S. District Court judge, who ruled that the president must stop and release his freeze. The president has put a freeze on billions of dollars in federal grants. And the judge said, wait, there's a due process clause here. We have to worry about Congress has the power to control spending. So ergo, you must release that freeze and let that money go out. And they defied him. They didn't do it. And the judge spoke up and said, this is the first time I can recall a president defying this kind of order. So that's what caught my attention. Not only that they threatened to do it, and that J.D. Vance was out there, and this is where I get worked up. J.D. Vance, who apparently, when he was at Yale Law School, was too busy studying creative writing and memoir writing, and he skipped constitutional law because that lawyer is telling us that the federal courts really do not have the power to supersede the executive branch. That's exactly the power they have. It's in the job description, for crying out loud. And so we don't have to speculate. This has already been done. This judge in Rhode Island has had his order ignored.
Yeah. I guess what troubles me about this, and I'm feeling this pretty much every day with regard to some particular issue, that none of this stuff could not have been predicted. I've heard people say that they didn't expect Trump to go this far, this fast. Well, if you consider that this is his last term, although they already floating this idea, of course, that he can run for a third term because he didn't have 2 consecutive terms. That, too, is unconstitutional, but hasn't stopped people from raising that issue of his running for a third term. Put a pin in that for the moment. But some folk apparently are surprised he's gone, again, so far, so fast. I am not surprised by any of this, specifically, Ruben, as it relates to the judiciary. Why? Because we have seen the way that Trump heretofore has thumbed his nose at judges. I am still thinking about the courtroom in New York City where he was on trial, the Stormy Daniels case. You recall that, brought by Alvin Bragg in Manhattan. Do you recall the way he talked to that judge? I mean, to his face right in the courtroom, Trump called that judge everything but a child of God. Judge Juan Merchan is his name, as I recall. Judge Merchan was just belittled, disrespected, demeaned, essentially called out of his name, as we say in my community, by Donald Trump. And all the judge could do was to say to his lawyers, get a hold of your client. Get your client under control. Yeah, but Donald Trump talked to him like a dog to his face.
And Trump supporters, as you recall, you go back and do a Google search on this, they even actually threatened and tried to intimidate his daughter, attacking the judge's family. Here's the thing. I try to put myself as much as I can into Trump's shoes and into the shoes of Trump supporters. How do they see things? Because I think Trump has made it very difficult for Ruben to be in the center. I think that Ruben is drifting further and further to the left because Trump is in the White House. Now, I will say that when Joe Biden was in the White House, you and I would have this conversation where I was drifting further and further to the right. That's because I'm what they used to call a journalist. And as a journalist, you're supposed to fight the people in power. And sometimes the power people are the Democrats and sometimes they're the Republicans. Well, now they're the Republicans. And so I'm trying to get back to center by saying, where are they coming from? And from Trump's point of view, the entire Justice Department, the justice system, the judges are a bunch of liberals who've been put there in the deep state there to try to put him in jail, frankly. And if they can't put him in jail, they're going to try to thwart his will. Well, as I said earlier, too bad, because you're the president, and I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, You don't get to steamroll over federal judges. It's just that simple. Bill Clinton couldn't do it. Barack Obama couldn't do it. And you can't do it. Now, one quick thing about Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. Here's where I'm sympathetic to Trump. Tavis, if you are elected president, you have enormous power. Bill Clinton used that power, and Barack Obama used that power, and Joe Biden did not. There were various cases where Biden was feckless and weak and didn't deliver and didn't push back hard enough against Republicans on police reform, on voting rights, the list, immigration. The list is long, right? So I don't have a beef with the fact that Trump is making a power grab, because I think a lot of that power rests with the president. We just haven't seen presidents use it. I think what made Barack Obama a good president and Bill Clinton a good president is they used their power. So that's how I'm going to thread the needle.
Yeah.
As president, he has the right to use the power, but he can't steamroll the judges who are in charge of curtailing that power.
I take your point, and yet there is no, let me just admit this, I don't know in my study of history, I've not seen any comparable example. But one of the things that kind of sticks in my craw these days is whatever you think of Donald Trump and whatever you think of his policies, and this audience knows when it comes to me, not much. Not much of him do I think, not much of his policies do I think. And yet you almost have to respect the fact that this guy got in on day one and went to work. I have never seen a Democrat, including Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton, my friend, including Barack Obama. I have never seen a Democrat come in and get to work so swiftly. I'm not talking about what he's doing. I'm not talking about his policies. I'm talking about Ruben's point, which is that they have the power. And because you have the power, you might as well use it. What do you make of the fact that Trump has just gotten to work so quickly? I mean, overreaching, no question about it, but using every single bit of the presidential authority that he has.
Yep. I admire it. I admire it. Okay. I'm not with him on the policies. I'm not with him as a person. I think he's a despicable human being in many cases, personal and professionally. Mm-hmm. But in terms of being a president, this reminds me of what Bill Clinton said. Bill Clinton said after he finished his 2 terms, he goes, "I'm glad the Constitution limited me from running for a third because they would have had to drag me out of there." He goes, "I love that job so much." The point of the story is if Bill Clinton had gotten a third term, you know he would have got right into work because he knew how it all got done. Mm-hmm. But coming in from, hey, I used to be the senator from Illinois. My name is Barack Obama. Now I'm president. Hey, I used to be the governor of Arkansas, Bill Clinton. Now I'm president. Brother, it takes them 6 months to know where the bathroom is. Mm-hmm. Okay? But Donald Trump has the advantage of having been president before, and he was able to come in and say, "This is what I'm going to do." And he's just doing it with dizzying speed. He's doing a lot of harm. And let me just say this. This is going to get me off of the center, back to the left again. I feel like somebody who has as my most prized possession this beautiful Airbnb, and it's called America. And I've been hearing reports that for the last 28 days, the tenants are trashing the place. Okay? And that's what I feel like. I feel really disgusted by what I see Vance doing and Trump doing and the others are doing harm to my country. And it galls me. But I got to say, I admire the craftsmanship, the efficiency with which they're doing this.
Well, Trump's in his second term. They weren't consecutive, but he's still in his second term. That doesn't excuse Bill Clinton and Barack Obama for not being more aggressive in their second terms. They both had second terms. Right. So they by that time, they knew where the bathroom was, to use your example. And neither in their second term was anywhere near as aggressive as Donald Trump has been. And the thing that also gets me is that, at least in Barack Obama's case, when he took over, he had both the White House, all three. Yep. He had the White House, the House, and the Senate. Now, one could argue that being the first black president, Barack Obama didn't think he could even get away with nearly what Donald Trump is getting away with. I'm not even talking about overreaching and breaking the law. So in Barack Obama's case, one could argue it's not just about learning what the bathroom is. It's about how far can I go as a black man. Barack Obama, I think in some respects, was scared of his own shadow. And it took him a while to try to figure that out. And Barack Obama, I think, and I'm still bothered by this all these years later, and I think it's not just me. I said this a long time ago, caught hell for saying it. Folk have finally, with humility, caught up with me. But part of it was that Barack Obama tried to get along to go along, and that was a problem. Mitch McConnell told Barack Obama on day one, "My job is to defeat you." Mitch McConnell was never, ever, those Republicans were never going to accept Barack Obama. They were never going to work with him. Donald Trump is abundantly clear that we don't like him. He doesn't care. He's pushing forward anyway. Democrats too often want to work across the aisle, don't want to use the power they have. So in that sense, you see another fundamental difference between the way Obama and Clinton governed and the way that Trump is governing.
I also think that you're absolutely right. 100%. I agree with you. I think also Trump doesn't care about his legacy. He doesn't care about what people think about him. He doesn't care about how many parties he gets invited to. I think that Barack Obama and Bill Clinton had the same Achilles heel. They cared too much about what traditional Washington thought about them. Maybe because they came from the outside. They came from Illinois. They came from Arkansas. It meant something to get the blessings of members of Congress and the like. And you're right. That's what fed into this idea of I need to get along, go along to get along. Also, Barack Obama came from a place where he was raised by white people. He was raised by white grandparents with his white mother. And he prided himself on being able to get along with white folks. I thought that, I remember the Philadelphia speech on race, and I think that was a great asset. But as time went on, you begin to realize that if there are going to be some hard battles to be fought over really racially fraught issues, you want somebody who is not afraid to offend people.
Yeah.
You offend people on a daily basis, and so do I. We've got the scars to prove it. And so I got to give Donald Trump some props. He don't care. He just doesn't care. And because of that, he can be very effective. Now, effective in the wrong way. I think he ought to use his power for good and not for evil.
Sure.
Okay, I'm with that. But I got to admire the fact that he's not sitting around waiting. He's not licking his finger, putting it up in the air, seeing which way the wind is blowing. He doesn't care what Congress thinks about him, and he controls both houses of Congress.
Yeah. This is not a Tavis original or a Rubin original, but somebody once said, and they were right, that well-behaved people rarely get anything done. Well-behaved people rarely.
You gotta break some dishes.
Yeah.
You gotta break some dishes.
Yeah, man. You gotta get in there and mix it up. Well-behaved people rarely get things done. Okay, I've got 2 minutes left, and I want to get your take. I have not talked to you, at least on the air, at least. Since this birthright citizenship thing is just broken wide open. And I'm reading pieces, including a major piece, you probably saw it in the New York Times this week, by some scholars who believe that on this issue, Trump may have a point, that birthright citizenship was not intended for the children of those who come to this country illegally. And you heard Trump say in the White House a couple weeks ago, he believes he does have a majority on the Supreme Court that may support him on this. In 2 minutes, what's your read of where we are right now? We'll talk, of course, in the weeks and months to come as this story develops. What's your sense of where we are right now on this story?
Trump doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. He's going to lose this fight. Every legal scholar says so, independent of the ones you said. And I'll tell you why. It's very difficult to amend the 14th Amendment, to change the wording of it. I remember, and let's go right to it. I remember a conversation I had at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. And it was a group of journalists, and I was asked by African Americans in the audience, basically, where do these children of undocumented immigrants get off using the 14th Amendment to say that they're U.S. citizens? It wasn't put there for them. It was put there for freed slaves. And I said, here's the thing, and you used the key word there, intended. This amendment was never intended to be used in this way. But the funny thing about the Constitution is intention doesn't count for much. And what I said to this group of African American journalists was simple. I said the First Amendment was not put there for you either. Because when the First Amendment was written and guaranteeing free speech, freedom to petition government, freedom of assembly, African Americans were seen as property. Nobody thought of you. James Madison was not thinking of you when he wrote it down. But during the Civil Rights Movement, Dr. King and others were able to use their free speech, the right to petition government, the right to assemble, because guess what? When it comes to the Constitution, intention doesn't count for anything. It doesn't matter what was intended. It matters the words on the page are what matters. Yeah. And after that, I got very little pushback.
It is a living, breathing document, to be sure. It's a powerful point that Rubin makes, and we'll debate that in the days ahead. But I'm always delighted to be in conversation with the host of the Rubin in the Center podcast, courtesy of his Creative Syndicate piece, the most widely read Latino columnist in the nation. Rubin, as always, man, appreciate you. We'll talk soon, my friend. All the best to you.
God bless you. I love you, my brother.
Love you back. Stay strong, man. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom. Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Nearly 300 FAA employees were fired by the Trump administration, a move criticized by their union. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy stated that less than 400 probationary employees were let go from the 45,000-strong agency. A federal judge will rule today on a lawsuit against Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. 14 states seek to block Doge from firing employees and accessing sensitive records, arguing Musk's power is unconstitutional. A measles outbreak in West Texas has infected dozens, with health officials fearing up to 300 cases. Many affected are unvaccinated children from a rural Mennonite community. And Kentucky is ranked the worst state to retire, followed by Louisiana, Mississippi, Washington, New Mexico, and New Jersey. While it Hub's analysis considered factors like tax rates, cost of living, and access to medical care. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
If you or someone you know is affected by the Los Angeles wildfires, you are not alone. No matter how sad, scared, or heartbroken you feel, Cal Hope is here for you and all those affected by the devastating wildfires. Find free, safe, and confidential mental health support at calhope.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Former Crenshaw High School star Marcus Johnson is a finalist for the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, class of 2025. Johnson, an All-American at UCLA, played 7 of his 11 NBA seasons with the Milwaukee Bucks. He was a 4-time NBA All-Star and a first-team All-NBA selection in 1979. Former Lakers center Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony are also among the finalists. The Hall of Fame inductees will be chosen April 5th during the NCAA Final Four in San Antonio. 46 players from HBCU schools participated Monday in the NFL's HBCU Scouting Combine in New Orleans. It was a chance for HBCU players to make a first-hand impression on NFL scouts and player personnel directors. 7 players from last year's HBCU Combine earned a roster spot on an NFL team, including Rams kick returner Xavier Smith of Florida A&M. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know? The United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time. Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
Are you a recent college graduate with a dream of getting a high-paying job in sales? A job where you can grow a lucrative career in multi-platform audio, digital, podcast, social media, and local events, along with world-class training and career growth opportunities. KBLA Talk 1580, located in historic Leimert Park, is currently hiring entry-level account executives for outside sales. Join a team featuring radio hosts Tavis Smiley, Dr. Cornell West, Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, Dr. Nee Cordelai Corte, Zoe Williams, and our very own Dominique DePrima. For more information on attending our upcoming career fair, contact SMB at KBLA1580.com today.
Work, 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 work.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed. I'm delighted to have in the studio with me right now our Congresswoman Sidney Kamlaga Dove. The city of L.A., as you all know, is soon to host a number of world events, and a number of these events, including the 2026 World Cup, and the 2028 Olympics, will be staged in part in the heart of Black Los Angeles. How will Black folk involved? How will they be involved in the organizing effort? How will Black people, the community, benefit from these world-class affairs coming to L.A.? Anybody Black gonna make any money off these events that are coming to L.A.? And who's holding the people who hold the purse strings accountable to make sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion in the money and beyond really matter? I am honored to have, again, Congresswoman Sidney Kamlaga Dove in studio to present these questions to her, since I don't know the answers to any of them. How are you today, first of all?
I'm good.
It's good to see you.
You too. Good to be here with you.
I want to talk politics before I lose you at the top of the hour here, so let me make the most of these 25 minutes that I have. Broadly speaking, I think even for Black folk, it's a good thing. And, of course, this program is heard all across the country right now, so people will be watching the World Cup. They'll be watching the Olympics. They'll be coming to L.A. for all of this. And I'm not sure how Black folk fit into these or this equation. You tell me.
Well, first of all, as you mentioned, most of the venues where all of these things are going to be happening are in South LA. Mm-hmm. So people will be seeing Black folks, but they're also going to be seeing, Guatemalans, Hondurans, El Salvadorans, because of the makeup of this county. And World Cup is about soccer. And that is, I think, the number one sport in the world, mm-hmm. Africa, South America, Central America, et cetera. So the optics are going to be all kinds of melanin folk up in here. Mm-hmm. We have an obligation, the Congress, the public, private enterprise, to demand representation and equity in who the folks are that are bringing these games to the country and Los Angeles, and the role that we play, because we're just not going to be window dressing mm-hmm. these games or the city.
But diversity, as you well know, I don't need to tell you, you're in Washington every day. Well, not every day because you're here right now. But diversity these days is a 4-letter word.
It is, but it still generates money. And last I checked, Black folks contribute hundreds of billions of dollars into the pockets of shareholders mm-hmm. of many of these corporations that are wanting to now push back or reimagine how they're trying to implement DEI. And I say boycott them. Yeah. Make them show you how they really care about you. So don't sell me your stuff and then also tell me you're not going to support me as your consumer.
Yeah. I wonder what agency we really have in that regard. I think you're right about the fact that boycotts may be the answer. But this list is getting so long. I mean, from McDonald's to Walmart to Target. If I had the time, I could do this all day long. Mm-hmm. I don't have the time. But this is funny, but not really. If this list continues to grow at the pace that it's growing now, with everybody abandoning diversity, equity, and inclusion, we won't have any place to shop. There'll be no place to eat. You see my point?
Well, the reality is that diversity, equity, and inclusion benefited white women the most. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you are talking about Black folks. And, of course, this administration is code switching to make DEI all about Black people, but you're talking about all people of color, mm-hmm. right? You're talking about women. You're talking about veterans. You're talking about the disability community. You're talking about the LGBTQ community. So those folks also need to jump up and say, hey, I'm part of DEI. A. B, you also know that like any business that is real competitive and successful has a diverse portfolio. Nobody's selling just one thing. Mm-hmm. McDonald's is also selling fries and chicken and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? They have a diverse portfolio. So my issue is don't talk out of both sides of your mouth. Don't try to placate this administration by saying DEI is bad and then still come to these communities and say, well, we got you. We're just going to call it something else.
Yeah. I think a lot of what's driving this, and this is not rocket science here, but I think these corporations, these multinationals, let's call them what they are afraid of Donald Trump. It's all about fear.
But he's a bully. And last I checked, bullies make you afraid by puffing up in your face, right? But once you pop one of them in the face, then everyone else tries to say, hey, I'm going to get some licks in too because you also bullied me. So I wish they would come to their senses and get a little constitution and backbone and say no. My shareholders want me to deliver for them, and I can't do that if I cut off 3/4 of my consumer base, because the reality is white men are not buying everything, right? That is not the entire consumer base.
Yeah. What do you make of the fact that Donald Trump is being able to run this play and, frankly, at the moment, run it rather successfully, if we're being honest about it, even as we push toward that day that is coming where this country, for the first time ever, will be a majority-minority country? I'm trying to juxtapose this pushback in this moment, even as we are inexorably hurtling toward that day where they won't even be the majority anymore.
Well, It silences me quite a bit because every day I'm going to Congress, I'm listening to hypocrisy and I'm watching duplicity happen, right? Why Republicans are silent on the judiciary, why they're silent on the legislative branch, why they're silent on the Constitution, why they're bending over and letting this man basically allow Elon Musk, who bought the presidency for $280 million, run roughshod over laws, over precedent, over constitution, over what's legal. Gratefully, we have a core of lawyers and nonprofit organizations that are willing to sue. But my concern is all of the lawsuits will create some porosity in the Constitution and in the law. And that's what they're trying to do, create fissures. So we have to flood the zone with truth and receipts, just like they're flooding the zone with all of their shenanigans.
Do you see at this moment that black people in particular have any allies in this fight? To your point, Donald Trump is code switching, making DE&I just about black people. We know it's more than just about that. At the same time, though, we're catching on the chin right now. We're taking it on the chin, and I'm not so sure with all of our Democratic talk about coalition politics that I see the kind of allies that I need to be seeing. That's just me. I could be wrong. You tell me.
So I wonder if the reverse isn't happening. If we have allies, because I feel like the allies are like, hey, where are you, black people? And black people are like, well, I woke up and I looked in the foxhole and I didn't like who I was seeing next to me. So I actually think the black community is recalibrating and saying, my receipts show that you really haven't been with me, right? Or you've only been with me when it supported your issues. We talk so much about social issues. We talk very rarely about economic issues centering black people in those conversations. And we have allowed our allies, I think, to push us into a social space, which is very fraught with division. And we need to be bringing everybody back to talking about economic empowerment for black folks. Show me the allies step up when we're talking about black money. So there will be a whole lot of conversations happening in the next few years, definitely, I think, as it relates to black folks.
As it relates to black people, what does for you the resistance look like? I've been asking this question to people in the first 100 days to try to get a sense of where I think we're headed. But what does the resistance look like for you, Sydney Kamalaga?
Yeah, it looks like it's the resistance and it's the opposition. It's telling the truth. It's being unapologetic about it. It's saying no. So I'm not voting for nothing, okay? No budget bills. I'm not in the majority. They are. So they have all the votes. They don't need me. I'm going to sit right here and I'm going to call the strikes and the balls as I see them. The resistance looks like educating folks and then pushing back. We always want to go along to get along. I'm not doing that. For me, there's no time to be polite. And there's no time to be predictable. And so you won't be seeing a different Sydney Kamlager, but it will be sounding different because Democrats have always been used to trying to save the day. I'm not saving the day right now.
What do you say to people as one Democratic member of Congress? What do you say to folk, and there are a whole lot of folks saying this, that Democrats are MIA, that y'all are still licking your wounds, that we don't see an agenda? I said yesterday, what was it? I made up something live on the air. My 3 Ws. Democrats are waiting. watching and hoping to win in the midterms. But that ain't the strategy. Wait, watch, and win. You think he's going to implode or go so far that, that you will just, as a result, end up winning because people will have had enough of it. So it's wait, watch, and win. But that is not a winning strategy.
Correct. So we've been doing a lot. It's hard because there's so much going on every day. There's 5 new things that you see on the news. Over 70 lawsuits have been filed. We've been showing up at all of these departments and agencies demanding to be let in so that we can conduct on-site oversight. Of course, we're not being let in. And then, of course, we're telling the truth about what's actually going on behind the scenes. We're authoring legislation, which obviously is not going to go anywhere. We've got a litigation and rapid response task force coming out of the Congressional Democratic Conference. We are mobilizing with nonprofit organizations. We're also pushing back and saying, hey, there are only 3 Republicans that are needed to block Elon Musk. So instead of calling me, call them. I don't care if they're not in your district, call them, put the pressure, because right now Republicans are having their cake and eating it too. Right? They are siding with him, and then they're silent because they're saying, well, how could you be against cutting government waste? Well, I'm not against cutting government waste. What I am against is an unelected billionaire coming in and taking the nuclear codes and my social security numbers and my financial data. What I am against is this lie that we have had a ballooned federal workforce when in fact it's remained the same for the past 40 years. What's ballooned have been private federal contractors. So tell the truth. And then standing up and saying no, like I said. Yep. But we also have to build, and I'm going to shout you out, we have got to build alternate forms of communication and media outlets. Republicans dedicated strategically a decade plus to creating alternate forms of media because they didn't like what they were getting from traditional sources. That's
true. That's how you got Fox News. But I digress for now. Her name is Cindy Conlaga-Dove. More with her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Leimert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
I have a dream today.
From slavery and segregation to the Great Migration to our present-day rising, the Black experience in America is a story of resilience, achievement, and unstoppable spirit. This February, we're curating amazing conversations celebrating the heroes, the pioneers, and the everyday people who made history. Black History Month on KBLA Talk 1580. Together, we carry the torch forward.
Robinhood Gold members can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on annual retirement contributions. With Robinhood Gold, the perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive a 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you are invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black. More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Congresswoman Sidney Kamlaga-Dove represents the LA area, and I'm pleased to have her in studio here in Los Angeles, as we heard across the country. And if you have not familiarized yourself with Sidney Kamlaga-Dove, she's one of the stars, and you should just read more about her. She's brilliant, and we are blessed to have her representing this area in Los Angeles. I was just saying to Sidney during the break that I want to reprise on the air now that I think part of the problem, and I don't know what the answer here is, and I'm not in charge of this, thank God, but I think part of the problem, Sidney, is that there is no head. There's no leader. For all of our critiques of leadership, I've been at this a long time now. For all of our critiques of leadership, human beings need to be led. Mm-hmm. We will critique leadership, but we need to be led, always have been. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our nature. There is no, I guess Ken now at the DNC is the titular head of the party, or one could look at Hakeem Jeffries as the default leader of the party. But it's not just a lack of an agenda that many people are feeling, but like who's leading us at this point?
Yeah, the one interesting thing about the Republican Party is they will get behind their leader regardless of if they like that person or not, regardless of if they agree with that person or not. Democrats, everyone has to sign off. And sometimes you just have to move past that. You know, obviously my leader is Hakeem Jeffries, and even I wonder if we are ready for a black man to be speaker, right? And is that why people keep saying, who's the leader? Who's the leader? Because when Speaker Pelosi was at the head, nobody questioned that. They said, she is our leader. There's so many sort of consternations. And I don't know if folks still are recovering from having a black man be president of the United States and how that made people feel. But, you know, I feel like we do have one. But we also have a Democratic Party that's not being honest with itself about race and class and wanting to be led by a black person. I mean, we had challenges with this last election because of that.
You know him better than I do. I mean, I know him, and we hung out over the years, but you know him better than I do. Do you think Hakeem at this moment relishes that role? Does he want to be that person? You know,
I pray for Hakeem. Hakeem Sekou Jeffries.
You and me.
Yeah. Hakeem Sekou Jeffries. Yeah. I mean, and this is a brother who, his family very steeped in the civil rights, Black Panther movement, and how he is trying to navigate this ship with all kinds of Democrats up in it. I mean, you have blue dogs and centrists, some folks that are some maybe more Republican than some Republicans on some votes, to the very super progressive and navigating this ship and keeping us all together. It's not an easy feat. And then having to go in and negotiate with the likes of Mike Johnson, who was a stone cold liar every single day of the week. So I have faith. I mean, I have watched him, and he is not as vocal or bombastic as others, but maybe this is the time for that. Maybe it's not. But he's got a lot of stuff he has to do.
No, he does. His style may be what we need at this point, but I just sometimes wonder whether, when I see him in the way he shows up, the way he moves, whether he even relishes this moment. But anyway, I digress. Our remaining moments with Sidney Kamlaga-Dove when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
Hey you, I knew I'd find you back in the same aisle. What are you looking for today? More fiber, more laxatives, more of the same ways to manage your constipation? Look, if your constipation with belly pain keeps coming back, you may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. Ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Worried about eviction? You have rights, and Stay Housed LA can help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between LA County, the City of Los Angeles, and local service providers. From Lancaster to Long Beach, we're here to help you with tenant education workshops, legal clinics, free legal services for eligible tenants, and online resources about tenant protection laws. Don't face eviction alone. Call our hotline at 1-888-694-0040. That's 1-888-694-0040. Or visit stayhousedla.org. Stay Housed LA, keeping Los Angeles residents in their homes. Stay Housed LA, your rights, your home, our community. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and U.S. Congresswoman Sidney Kamala-Dove, who joins us live in studio for the next 4 minutes. This is a grim moment, and I guess the question that I wrestle with routinely is whether or not, let me rephrase that, Sidney, how much worse it gets before it gets better. There are people who are pitting all their hopes on the midterms. That's still 2 years away. So to your mind, I mean, you're there every day, how much worse does this get before, if it gets better?
I think it's going to get a lot darker. Wow. I think it will break at some point. I think it will be on the Republicans who decide that they have had enough. They can eat a lot of manure. It's going to take a while. I know I'm on public radio. But I tell you what I've been doing, Tavis. I've actually been talking with leaders and rebels in other countries and asking them for advice because this is new for us. We have always thought we're a beacon on the hill, we're a democracy. So I'm interested in how the rebels have managed to remain in opposition and push in other spaces in these third world countries where we think we're coming in asking them, giving them advice.
That's right.
I'm asking them for advice because those Afro-descendant communities have still been able to prevail under far worse circumstances than we.
You are the first person to say that to me, and I'm not surprised given your brilliance, but it is I'm just laughing because, again, nobody's ever said that. And I find it refreshing that an American would think that they could learn something from somebody else who's not American. So I rail about this all the time. This notion of American exceptionalism and, God bless America, I guess, as he damns everybody else to perdition. But this notion that we cannot learn from other people how to navigate these crises, it annoys me. So I'm just tickled because nobody's ever said that to me. I do this every day for 3 hours, and nobody has said, I'm asking people outside of this country, rebels, how they have navigated spaces like this. It's just so anti-American to think the way you think.
Well, I mean, I love my country and have enormous problems with my country, but I have also, I sit on foreign affairs, and so you're talking to folks from countries all across the globe. And I was talking to somebody in my office the other day. I said, you got to help me put this together because we have to learn. These folks have not gone away. Their resiliency, their self-determination is still here, and they can still show up in my office and talk to me about some stuff. So how come I can't go over there and ask them for some help?
Here's my exit question. And I'm not at all being cute about this. Does the democracy survive Donald Trump?
The democracy survives, But it will look very different. It will look very different. And you will have folks that have selective amnesia about their participation in this crisis that we're in.
And that's why we're here every day.
That's right. Keep the receipts, Tavis, which I know you know how to do.
Yeah, that's my job. She is Congresswoman Sydney Kamlaga-Dove. Honored to have you in studio. We'll do it again soon.
Always good to be
Thank
with
you for your time. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 things you should know with BIN News. Nearly 300 FAA employees were fired by the Trump administration, a move criticized by their union. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy stated that less than 400 probationary employees were let go from the 45,000-strong agency. A federal judge will rule today on a